I've been performing magic since I was 5 or 6, and then when I was 14 I was in Scotland on a school tour and I bought a hypnosis book, a little pamphlet actually, and I immediately started trying it on friends and on family. And the first time it actually worked was when I was in my Gaelic class in secondary school, and I hypnotized my friend sitting next to me to run around the class like a chicken. And then he got attention because the teacher hadn't realized that I'd hypnotized him. And funnily, I then gave him my pamphlet. He's now a professional hypnotherapist. We're still great friends. He became a professional hypnotherapist. But that's kind of what I suppose initially got my interest going in it. But then when I was 18, I went to college. I studied chemistry, but my girlfriend then, as my wife now, she was studying psychology. So I learned more and more about hypnosis, the subconscious mind, psychology. And then it kind of just spiraled on from there, and then just studied with some guys in Ireland as well, who mentored me, and then here we are, I suppose, you know. I've done a lot of my own television in the past, so I've experimented a huge amount with hypnosis on television. I did a special over in the States on hypnosis, but then Tuesday's Child came up with the idea of marrying, if you like, hypnosis with a game show concept. And yeah, they contacted me and I thought it was a great idea. And then, after we kind of together kind of bashed out the concept a bit more, and they came up with the gameplay, it was great for me then to just, I suppose, play with people's minds and see what is possible and what isn't possible. I mean, it's a difficult concept because people are trying to fight out of the hypnosis to win the money. So as a hypnotist, it was a huge challenge, but a very rewarding challenge as well. And I suppose the results are on the first season, and it did really well, and we're all very happy, obviously, you know. The whole argument is whether hypnosis is real or not. For a hypnotist, at least, it's a nullified argument. In other words, we've seen under ECG machines, brain activity changes under hypnosis. And certainly in the US, they're performing open heart surgery sometimes with just hypnosis as the anesthetic. So the idea of whether it's real or not is kind of gone. I suppose then the battle for us is, as a home viewer, I can completely understand that people are wondering, are these people acting? Are they playing along? Because it looks so crazy, foolish and outlandish, the things that these people are doing. And especially with this concept, I think it's more evident than ever that they are hypnotized, simply because if they weren't hypnotized, well, they wouldn't be doing all these crazy things because they would want to win the money. I suppose in the first season, one of the things that sticks out in my mind was one of the girls, she was throwing away pizzas, and every pizza I think was worth €1,000 or £1,000 if I'm not mistaken. And every pizza she threw away, she was throwing away £1,000. And she was just gone to a different place in her mind, and she didn't care about the money at that stage. I hypnotized her, I suppose, so deeply that the money became, gone in her mind, I suppose. So for me, yeah, I mean, absolutely, these people wouldn't be doing these crazy, silly, foolish, and outlandish things unless they truly were hypnotized. I suppose with television being that medium, it's always difficult to get it to translate on television. But I think people obviously did get it because they tuned in their thousands and thousands to watch the show every week, you know. I'm very heavily involved in all aspects of production. So for, I suppose right at the inception, the first thing we have to do is find the contestants that are most hypnotizable. And we do that through susceptibility testing, as we call it. And really what that involves is me testing people's imaginations, testing their subconscious minds, and seeing how susceptible they are to hypnosis, because we do need to find people who are susceptible. And also I need to make sure that we don't have anybody as a contestant who's just going to act or play along. I want to get rid of those people. I don't want those people either. I want people who are genuinely hypnotized. So yeah, we have these susceptibility tests that we do on people. We get about 30 people into a room, and I get them to do all of these imaginative tests, and that gives me all of the information that I require as a hypnotist to know whether they're then later on going to be hypnotized for the show. And then when it comes to the gameplay, the games team in the UK, they come up with the games. And then once they've come up with what they think are great games, they bring me in, I look across the games, see, I suppose, what I think is possible as a hypnotist and what isn't possible. And then I give a whole load more ideas, which then get incorporated into the show. So it's very much a collaborative process, and a very enjoyable process from that perspective, because with my work schedule, I don't have time to come up with all the games, but we've got a great games team to do that. But then I get to throw in all my own ideas into the mix as well, which is great fun, because I like to push the boundaries and really go a bit nuts with it as well, you know. it's interesting. I think there probably is a secret sauce that's required for this production because, you know, it's an interesting production to make, and I think a few key things that are required. And once you have those few key things, I think you certainly can have an amazing production. So I think first and foremost, the two things that come to mind: you have to have an amazing games team who can, you know, really understand the concept of your back in the room, but also then bring their own ideas to the format. You know, I was just down in Australia, and we're filming the Australian version, for example, for Channel 9, and I'm the hypnotist on that one as well. And down there, they came up with their, you know, some of their own games, as well as the games team in the UK who provided some games to them. So they have an amazing games team down there. So I think, you know, you have to have an amazing games team, and then obviously you've got to get a hypnotist who really knows what he's doing as well. And I suppose that's key to the process, because you know, if these people pop out of hypnosis during the gameplay, or if they're indeed not hypnotized, then obviously that wouldn't work. So I think, you know, really finding the key hypnotists in different territories is important. So really taking that time, I suppose, to find who these people are in these different countries is very much a huge part of your back in the room, you know. Okay, so we're going to have a little susceptibility test right now to see how susceptible Kristen is to hypnosis, and you at home also. So I want you to put out your hands like this for me, please, and just go ahead and interlock your fingers. Do it at home as well if you want to. Extend your first two fingers like this so there's about an inch gap between them. Now look at me, just take a deep breath in and out, and just stare at that gap, and immediately imagine there's magnets pulling your fingertips towards each other, and that gap begins to get smaller and smaller. There you go. That gap gets smaller and smaller. Those powerful magnets pulling your fingertips towards each other. That gap getting smaller and smaller until your fingertips touch. If your fingertips have moved at all, and especially if they've touched, it means you're highly susceptible to hypnosis. So have a look at, turn around, so have a look. You are highly susceptible to hypnosis. You would go into a deep hypnotic trance. You can put your hands down now. How did that feel for you? You could actually feel like there's magnets pulling them together. Another quick susceptibility test is this one here. You can try it at home, or you can just watch if you like. Put out your left hand out, palm up like this, me. Right hand out, palm down. Good, eyes on me. Take a deep breath in and out, and close your eyes. Close your eyes and focus on my voice. Now in your mind, using that wonderful imagination that you know you have, I want you to visualize and imagine on the left hand a big heavy telephone book. Visualize it and see it in your mind's eye now. And attach your right wrist here. I want you to visualize a string going up to a pink helium balloon. That's it. And now you'll feel the weight of that heavy telephone book pulling and dragging your left hand down towards the floor, right hand floating on up higher and higher and higher, adding a whole bunch of helium balloons now, left hand getting heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier, right hand floating higher and higher and higher and higher. When I snap my fingers, you'll open your eyes. You'll be actually a little bit surprised at just how far apart your hands have gone. 1, 2, 3, eyes open, wide awake. Now, did they feel like they were that far apart, or how did it feel? No, you can put your hands down now. You're very susceptible to hypnosis. So there's a few different types of people though, just so you know. If your hands move just like an inch or you know, 3/4 of an inch apart, that means you're the type of person that has problems letting go in public. If your hands moved a foot or more apart, that means you've got a huge imagination, a wild imagination. You've no problem letting go in public. If your hands moved as far apart as hers, it means you'll go deep into a hypnotic trance very quickly. You might end up in prison at some stage in your life, but you'll definitely end up on your back in the room if you apply for the show. See you later.